Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /SheddingTheBitch or share your stories on our website at sheddingthebitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Boas know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910.
Good day, everyone. How are you on this, in Atlanta at least, this rainy day, this rainy Tuesday? But it's a glorious day because if you are watching us online, I have Catherine Carrigan in the studio. How are you?
I'm great. A little drippy because of the rain outside. So if you hear drips, it's actual rain.
Yes, thank you very much. And I have a feeling that's maybe what Deborah was hearing.
Yeah,
and I have skylights in the studio. And so you may hear some like what sounds like static, but it's not static. It's raindrops on the windows. But we are so excited that you're here. We're going to have a great conversation in regards to Catherine's latest work of art and her latest book, Reading the Soul. Okay, but we want to get into today's conversation with our lovely guest. So we have one of our most popular guests. Yes, we do. Catherine Carrigan. She's in the studio, as I mentioned. We are videotaping this. So we'll post it on all the social media outlets, but we'll also put it on my Shedding the Bitch YouTube channel. And then I'm sure Catherine will share it too, so you won't miss having an opportunity to see our lovely faces and to learn more about Reading the Soul. I am so excited. So in Reading the Soul, she's a medical intuitive healer, Miss Catherine Carrigan. She reveals how you may be suffering from a wounded spirit, the karmas your soul may be carrying from this or other lifetimes, which I believe in, the burden of negative spiritual energies, and why traditional medicine or natural healing may not be working to clear what ails you. So what is your soul's purpose? That is the objective of her book, Reading the Soul. Amazon.com. Go get it. You're not going to want to miss this particular best-selling book of the 10 she's written, and a number of them have been bestsellers. Now, if you want to hashtag with us, if you want to tweet and comment, whether that is on Twitter or Facebook or our blog, feel free to do so, and use hashtags Reading the Soul, hashtag Transformation, and hashtag Shed the Bitch. Do you have any other special ones you use?
Medical intuitive.
Medical intuitive, that's a good one. That's a good one. We'll get that added to the group. All right, I'm going to just take a very quick break and a little sip of water. And when we get back, we're going to dive into this conversation with Catherine. We will be right back.
I didn't prepare for this at all, other than getting here through the rain. So that's okay. It's going to go great. Oh, they do? Okay.
You know.
Okay.
You do radio.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why that's not working. We'll splice that in later. Get rid of that. Okay, we are back because obviously my commercial's not triggering off. So we're going to get right into this. How about it? You ready? And you're always ready. You said you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're always ready.
I love what I do.
You do love what you do, and that's what kind of just jumps off of the photos you have and the writings you do and all that kind of good stuff. So, what is going on with your soul? Our guest author and medical intuitive can help you understand what's going on with you at the soul level. Internal, not external. Let's forget about all those external factors out there. This is about your soul. How does your soul communicate with you? What is your soul longing for? What is your soul truly longing for? And I have a lot of questions around that. What karmas, soul wounds, or negative energies are holding you back? Now that's a big one I want you to all be thinking about as we talk through this. And what soul medicine works best for you? So take any one of those questions as your rich question for today's episode. And those rich questions are a question that you can really ground yourself in paying attention to as we talk. So you get to a little bit of self-awareness from every one of our episodes, okay? All right. So as I mentioned, Catherine is a #1 best-selling Amazon author and host of the Natural Healing Show for UK Health Radio. In her 26 years, she looks like she's 26 years old, working full-time in natural healing, she has worked with clients all over the world to empower them to heal themselves naturally without drugs. Key, natural without drugs. You can find anything and everything you want to know about Catherine. You can engage her. You can, just reach out at CatherineCarrigan.com or go to UnlimitedEnergyNow.com. Catherine's also the author of an online course, 8 Minutes to Inner Peace, people. 8 Minutes to Inner Peace, which teaches 8 simple breathing exercises to shift a person into a state of complete calm within 8 minutes. You can sign up for the online course at 8minutes-to-innerpeace.com. Let me tell you something. Last time she was on our show, middle of last year, I guess it was, she brought one of her books for me, and which I sat down to read, but I also took this 8 minutes because I was having actually a really hard time breathing. It was when I also had a cardiac situation last year, that summer. All good, no worries, but I felt like my breathing was off. So I took this 8 minutes to inner peace, and I can't even explain to you how quickly and how easily I was able to make some shifts. I didn't master any and all of them, but I was able to take pieces of them to where, even today, I pay attention to them. And I make sure that I kind of will go back, because the book that you had given me was about the breathing.
Yes.
And so, 8minutes-to-innerpeace.com. Check out her online course. All right, her previous books, I need to run through this. Yes, she has a long bio. Bear with us. You want to know all about her. What is Healing? Awaken Your Intuitive Power for Health and Happiness. Healing Depression, a holistic guide. Unlimited Energy Now. Banish the Blues Now. The difference between pain and suffering. And because she has so much expertise to share, and she does so much to reach out to all of you. She also wrote a couple of books on social media. So what is social media today? Keywords, hashtags, and you? Oh my. And then what is social media today? Get ready to win the game of social media. So we were talking hashtags earlier. So those are 2 books you can also get a hold of. Now, if you have any questions today, and I actually took down the studio for today simply because we were having technical issues, and I did not want to kind of lose you. I didn't want Blog Talk to all of a sudden to lose you. So if you have any questions, feel free to obviously post it on our Shedding the Bitch page, but actually just reach right out to Catherine. CatherineCarrigan.com and UnlimitedEnergyNow.com. Don't sit there wanting to get some answers to something and feeling like, well, is she going to make me pay? Is she going to respond to me? Is she going to do this? Is she going to do that? Just do it. Just do it, okay? All right, she is all over social media, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, CatherineCarrigan.com. Trust me, you want to be connected with her, but you want to be working with her. You want to be engaged with her. And she works with people all over the world, okay? All right, so let's dive into this. So when I saw this, well, one, I also love, and I want everybody to check it out too, every image that she shares is of a beautiful floral arrangement. Just beautiful. So if you go to her website, you don't even have to hit the tab, once, and you see all of her beautiful images. Before we get into this, where did that come from?
That is actually my favorite orchid. It's if I can say this, it's a Brassula catalea, and Anyway, it's a chartreuse cattleya. I got it originally at the Atlanta Botanical Garden, and it's actually blooming in my studio as we speak.
Ah.
So I think I got it in 2011. So I think I've had it for 9 years.
Nice.
And the photo on the cover of Reading the Soul is my beautiful orchid in its glory,
right,
with 4 blooms. I mean, it's just so gorgeous, you can't even believe it was real.
It's beautiful. But the whole idea of the flowers, where'd that come from, of you always having those images?
Well, you know, first of all, I believe that we live in a beautiful world. And, you know, Einstein said the most important question is whether or not you consider the universe to be a friendly place. Now, the reason that's important is if you actually believe the universe is a friendly place, then you're going to be open to all the love and the support that is constantly available for you 24/7.
Right.
So that's a really good healing to do. It's a really good thought to adopt, is to know that the universe is a beautiful place. Now, in healing, all illness is slowed down vibration. So if you've ever been in a nursing home, is the easiest way to understand that. Or even in a hospital. You know, you're in a nursing home for 5 minutes, you feel like you've been there for 3 hours,
Yeah.
right?
Even visiting, not let alone living or staying there.
Yes.
Just visiting, yes.
Yeah. So cold,
Yes.
you know, slowed
Yes.
down vibration. Healing happens when you lift the vibration. And I happen to adore raising orchids. I'm very blessed because my healing room is south-facing and full of light.
Beautiful.
And so orchids are the most evolved flowers on the face of the earth. You know, and your soul is who you really are, and it is evolved. And it is evolving.
Nice. That's beautiful. But check it out, CatherineCarrigan.com. You don't even have to scroll down an inch, and you're going to see hundreds of these beautiful floral images. And every time she posts something, and every book of hers has this reflection, which is a reflection of her soul and spirit. Beautiful. All right, so why this particular topic at this particular time?
So I'm a medical intuitive healer with 26 years full-time experience. When I do a medical intuitive reading, what I actually do is I read what's going on in your physical body, on your energy body, in the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. Now, there are many wonderful systems of healing that help you assess what's going on the physical level. You can go to the doctor. They can do blood work. You can get x-rays. You know, you can get an MRI. If you went to a naturopath, they have little machines that can read what's going on in your organs. But cutting to the chase, the reason that I wrote Reading the Soul is because you are a soul, and you're having a spiritual experience 110% of the time. And your soul controls your mind controls your emotions controls your energy, and your energy controls your physical body. So in other words, what's happening in your physical is simply a result of what's going on all these other levels. So up to now, there was no system as it was for sort of really helping you understand what's going on the soul level. But once you understand that you're having a spiritual experience 100% of the time, then when things happen to you, whether it's in your work or your career or in your physical body, again, that's a reflection of what you're doing at the soul level. Mm-hmm. So if you understand what's going on the soul level and work at that level, it's the most powerful level to do any healing work, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know, sometimes what's happening is you're manifesting what I call a breakdown to breakthrough. In other words, sometimes you've been living your life and you were doing a good job and everything was working, but your soul needs you to make a change. And your soul needs you to go in another direction. And I always say God, and I hope if it's okay if I use that word, only has to tap you on the shoulder when you're paying attention. You know, you get the bulldozer effect.
Yes, you do.
When you're not paying attention, right? So again, when you understand what's happening at the soul level, then that's directing all of your experience, including your health and your work and everything.
Right. And now, you know, many of the people that I speak to who are doing any type of work on themselves, they even have a hard time kind of tapping into, I want to call them like layers, you know?
Yes.
And the soul's like the deepest layer.
Yes.
So they have a lot of chipping away to do.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of chipping away. So what is one of those first things that, you know, they can do, our listeners can do, in regards to, even if they say, oh, this is exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what my passion is, my purpose, my reason for being. And that's lower than, you know, the subsurface, or the surface and the subsurface. You know, how do you kind of bring that out in them, or allow them to bring it out in themselves?
Well, when I'm doing a medical intuitive reading, I kind of look at, you know, what's up for a person, and I read what's, again, right now we're just going to be talking about the soul level,
Right.
not these other levels.
Right.
But I'm going to look at, you know, first of all, where you are in your spiritual development. So there's basically 3 stages. The first is, you know, you're alive, but you're not aware. In other words, you're not connected to the fact that you're a soul, you know, or that you have a soul purpose or soul longing. So when you're a little kid, you're just doing your life.
You're just being.
You're just being,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're just existing.
And then you go through a process of what's called awakening, which is like, sometimes it's almost like, you know, the veil is lifted, even just for a moment. It's like, there's something bigger going on here, right? You know, and you know, the veil may lift and then go back, but you're in a process of awakening to who you really are. And then, you know, finally, it's conscious, which is where you're aware that you're a soul, you're aware that you have a spiritual purpose here, you know, and you're living your soul purpose. Mm-hmm. And to me, one of the things about working at the soul level is it really is where your joy resides, right?
I would agree with that.
Right? So when you're living your soul purpose, you know, you're naturally led to what you're supposed to do, to the people that you're supposed to interact with, right?
It feels right.
Yes.
Even the challenges are like, okay, so I'm having a challenge, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'll just overcome that challenge.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, going back to those times of breakdown to breakthrough, you know, when you kind of put it in that perspective, it's like, why did I lose my job? Why did that marriage fall apart? You know, why is, you know, did I get this horrible illness? Why did I manifest all this? Well, your soul may be redirecting you to where it is that you are needing to be now. And it's not that what you went through before was wrong. One of the things that I talk to about my clients sometimes is that the concept of being complete. Like, you went to high school. Well, I'm complete with high school. Like, I've done high school. I don't need to go back. I'm done. And same with college. I went to college. I'm done with that, right? And sometimes, you know, when you look at your life, it's like a book. There are chapters, and you're complete with that. And now it's time for you to do something else. And it's only really difficult when we go kicking and screaming, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
but I was really happy over there.
Right. Comfortable.
I was in my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you may be, but you want to be open to the possibility that you may be happy over there, or even happier.
Mm-hmm.
And-
People are scared of happiness, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yes.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
Do you find that with your clients, that they're actually kind of hesitant and skeptical and, you know, kind of scared?
Yes. Well, you know, in some of my books, I talk about how there's 25 different ways that you can be addicted to pain. Okay? And, you know, this is very, very common.
Oh,
so we're, you know, I always joke, the biggest cult in the world is difficult, right? It's difficult to be healthy. It's difficult to lose weight. It's difficult to earn a living. It's difficult to be wealthy, right? So you want to, if you've been stuck in a challenge, shall we say, you want to look at, where am I addicted to being in pain? You know, why is it, what's this about, right? And, but pain addiction is very, very common.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have looked at it as pain. You're kind of making me get whacked in the face. I wouldn't have looked at it as pain. I definitely liked I always played the devil's advocate. I always like looked at the worst scenario of something happening because I thought that then I'd be prepared for it. You know, if I think the worst case today, right now, at this moment, and it happens, I convinced myself for decades that, oh, well, then I'll be ready for it. So I'll always look at it from the negative, you know, the worst case scenario.
Right.
And, you know, it was exhausting. So when I kind of went through my shedding process, I kind of let all that go, recognizing that, yeah, that wasn't doing squat for me.
Yeah, and you know, I've got 2 comments about that. One of the things that we know is that whatever you focus on expands.
Key thing.
You know, and I know we're talking about my book, Reading the Soul, but I'll just talk about something really simple that I do, okay, having to do with money, okay? Because I know your listeners are interested in that. And, you know, there's something called unconsciously competent, and then in other words, you're doing the right thing and you don't realize what you're doing, and then you become consciously competent. So what I did for a long time was that I always visualized that at the end of the week on Friday, I would have a certain amount of money in my QuickBooks. And I would literally visualize it. I visualize the amount, and it's a reasonable amount. It's not like I expect $1 million to show up in my QuickBooks on Friday. But I would just visualize that. And I would hold it in my mind. And what I noticed was that, you know, we always have good weeks, bad weeks. No matter what, by the end of the day, Friday, I always have that amount of money in my account. So then when I realized, I'm like, gosh, I'm doing that and it works. I thought, you know, I need to start doing that with my investments. So I have an amount that I have in my mind about what I see, and I've literally visualized my Morgan Stanley statement with that amount, and it works every time, and I've reset the amount multiple times. So going back to what we were talking about, what you focus on literally expands. You know, so if you want to have more money, you literally visualize your QuickBooks, your accounting statements with the amount of money that you want to have there.
Right.
Right? And you literally see it. You see it in all its detail.
Right.
All right? And you can see yourself being healthy and happy and at your ideal size and wearing the right outfit.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe what you shouldn't be wearing for your age, but...
Yeah, exactly. Something you feel comfortable with. But the second part about what you said is that we all have a shadow. All right? So you have a soul, all right? And you have a shadow. So what exactly is your shadow? Your shadow is the negative aspect of your ego. The shadow is the part of you that says, you're not good enough. I don't know about other people, but you aren't good enough. You're not good enough, you don't have enough, you don't know enough, you'll never make it, yada, yada, yada. Right? I mean, and don't, you know, like our energy's just tanking out.
Yes.
Now, you have a shadow. Again, you're not your shadow. But what happens is a lot of people allow their shadow to rule their life. All right? And if you allow your shadow to rule your life, the part that's like, you're not good enough, yada, yada, that's what you're going to experience.
Right.
Right? And in my book, Reading the Soul, I talk about how you see other people's shadow. Because when you go
see other people's shadow.
Yes.
Okay.
When you go into, in other words, you know, yes, we want to be all sweetness and light, but we also want to realize that evil actually exists, right? And there are people who want to take advantage of you and use you and stuff like that.
Right.
So how do you go about seeing other people's shadow? But, you know,
it's a great analogy.
Yeah, speaking for yourself, I mean, because I've had clients and they walk in and they go, you know, well, I just blew $100,000. And I'm like, well, you know, this person just ripped you off. And I can see it. And here's why. Right? So you want to be able to see that. But as far as your own self, again, you don't want your limited ego to rule your life. Because if you do, it will ruin your life. Right? And, you know, I'll share this for your audience. There's a very simple little technique from kinesiology that you can use to tell your shadow that it's not in charge. Yeah. And I have a client, she has 2 little boys, and every day, and they're frankly little hellions, So every day she does this little thing on them so that they don't, leave the house with their shadow in charge.
Ah.
But what you do is on the left temple, you just simply make a little circle, and you can draw it in any direction, and then you put an X through it. And that is a little healing technique from kinesiology, and it just tells your shadow, you're not going to be...
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing
right.
that, you think I'm not good enough, and I don't have enough, and I'm not enough, and I'll never be enough. But I'm going to let my soul be in charge now.
Awesome.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So going back to what we're saying is, you want to spend time visualizing what you want to create, and creating that in as great a detail as you can in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then when your shadow, when she shows up, and you recognize her, and you'll know she's there because she's negative. It's like, you just go, oh, thanks for sharing.
Right.
And I'm going to just tell her to just have a seat. And I'm going to let...
So cool.
Yeah, and then I'm going to let my soul be in charge, because my soul is driving the bus, and my soul has a purpose, even if I haven't figured it out yet.
Right.
And my soul has longing, and I'm going to just really spend time listening and going in that direction.
Awesome. Now, but I have a question that's been running through my head. So the soul, because that's what we're talking about, reading the soul, check it out, Amazon or CatherineCarrigan.com, which will then take you to Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. Awesome. I'm so excited. This is my copy, and I'm going to be reading it. But so we've talked about the fact that the soul is the furthest down, and you have to start chipping away. Help paint a picture for our audience around, how do your clients know, like, what are they going through? What are they dealing with? You did mention the $100,000 person, but what are they dealing with where they say, I need to go to Catherine and work with her on this versus on one of those other layers? Or are these people your clients that have started with you on the higher levels and they are chipping away and now they're still at the soul, they're still needing to work on the soul?
Okay, well, great question. Well, first of all, when I do a medical intuitive reading, I read the 5 levels: physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Because here's the deal. Whatever you're experiencing is always happening on all 5 levels. So I don't think anybody's a lesser person if you stubbed your toe, or you have a rash, or you have an eye problem, or whatever. Because again, it's happening on all 5 levels.
And
So,
you say that but putting it into, because you're so accustomed to talking this, what you're saying is, if you get up in the morning in a crappy mood, it's no wonder that then your body feels achy and you're distracted, or your mind's all screwed up, and you might be wearing your emotions on your sleeve, and your soul might be a little dark today, spiritually. That's what you're getting at, is it's why all those 5 levels are affected.
Right. Well,
Is that right?
Well, again, when people come to me to solve problems.
Right.
And so part of the reason I feel that I can really supercharge their healing is because I'm looking at all 5 levels. And I have great respect for doctors. My brother's a doctor, my dad's a doctor, my grandfather's a doctor, my uncle was a doctor, and they help, but they're only working on the physical. So going back to, you were asking about getting up in the morning. Well, I wake up very consciously, because when you wake up in the morning, you're literally setting your vibration for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with this whole subject right now.
Yeah, so I wake
absolutely.
up, I open my eyes in bed, I start praying immediately. My personal mantra is the Lord's Prayer. I meditate, right? Friday I had a great day at work, and I had wonderful meditations. So before I started, so when you start your day very consciously putting yourself in the highest vibration that you can, then you get to live your whole life that way, right?
Yes.
And then you follow your guidance in everything, right?
Yeah.
Your guidance will never steer you wrong.
Right. Some people aren't great listeners to it, though, right? Some people don't necessarily, or they don't want to because it might be guiding them in a place that they're not, comfortable with.
Well, there I have two comments. Number one, you have to understand how your soul communicates to you, because there's 4 different methods of psychic information.
Reading the soul.
Reading the soul. Now, one of my books is called Unlimited Intuition Now, and it talks about those 4 different kinds of intuition. All right. Because I remember when I started studying healing work, my mentor in healing said, you want to understand how you receive information, otherwise you just end up second guessing yourself. Okay, but, and the 4 different ways are claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. Now, that may be a bit technical, but here's what I want you to understand. Because you are a soul, your soul is always trying to communicate with you. And it's just a matter of, okay, how do I get information? And then the second part of all that is really learning to trust yourself, right? And here's the truth. The only person you ever have to trust is yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you trust yourself, then you'll know this is the right time to do this, or this is not the right time to do this, right?
Right.
So when my book came out, Reading the Soul, it came out in December. It was published December 8th. And usually I release all 3 versions of my book, the paperback, the ebook, and the audiobook at the same time. And I had been waiting for the audiobook to be finished. And everybody's like, well, just wait till January. And I tuned in and I was like, no. Well, my wonderful narrator, this is her, I think her 7th book that she's narrated.
Wow.
She had 2 emergency surgeries.
Ooh.
And then, we had some issues. Anyway, it's still not out. And I listened, everybody's like, wait till January. My guidance said no.
Put it out now.
Put it out now.
The audio will follow.
And the audio will follow, and that's what's going on. So again, you want to really learn to trust yourself. And part of the way that you learn to trust yourself is by developing a healthy relationship with yourself, right?
Yep.
And, many people have a very ego-based relationship with themselves, and there's 4 primary dramas. Poor me. When you're poor me, you're always talking about, being the victim, and I'm too tired, I'm too busy, nothing ever works out to me. Intimidator, when you're the intimidator, you're bullying yourself. Like, why haven't you got this figured out yet? Why aren't you a millionaire yet? Why haven't you lost those 30 pounds yet? What's wrong with you anyway? Right? Right?
Yeah.
Aloof is disconnected.
From yourself.
Yeah, I did a healing yesterday with a very spiritual person. He actually is a spiritual teacher here in Atlanta, but he had disconnected from his physical body. And I said to him, I know you had a lot of abuse when you were younger, and your safety mechanism was to disconnect, right?
Sure.
Right? And
I
so,
know it well.
Yeah, exactly. We all
Used to.
Yeah, a lot of us have done that one, where you just, get out of your body, disconnect from how you feel, right? So, anyway, intimidator.
You poor me, intimidator, aloof.
Yeah, and interrogator.
Interrogator.
Yeah, and the interrogator is the smart aleck. Like, you should have done that better. You think you only think you did well, but you could have done that better.
Oh, mercy.
Right, second guessing yourself. So when you have a healthy relationship with your true self, then you hold yourself with compassion. It's like, it's been our week. It's been raining every day.
Yeah.
It's okay my hair doesn't look good. I'm all right, right? And you hold yourself with compassion, and you give yourself, you create space in your life to really listen at that soul level.
Is it, and this is coming from, a personal question, but I'm sure my listeners would want to hear it too, but is it possible to, and I totally understand and get consciousness, and being very self-aware. And, you know, the minute things start talking to you, you know, the minute those emotions and, you know, that shadow starts creeping in, you kind of want to shut it down. But you're not, are you saying that someone could be so evolved to where they never are being poor me, intimidating, interrogating, or aloofing themselves?
You know, great question. So first of all, we're all human, right? I put my pants on one pant leg at a time. I remember years ago this U.S. senator, former U.S. senator, had an appointment with me, and I got really nervous, and I cleaned the house, you know, spick and span, and the friend said, you know, you put your pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're all human, and, you know, again, you just, to me, one of the biggest words that I like to use is compassion. So you want to have compassion. When your shadow shows up, when your poor me shows up, all these different aspects, you really want to ask yourself, you know, why is she showing up again?
Right.
You know, I thought I fixed that already.
Right.
One of my books, Unlimited Energy Now, I went into meditation and I got that it needed to have a spiral on it. Well, life energy, if you study life energy, if you study chi or prana, it literally moves in spirals. Okay, your chakras spin clockwise, your cells spin clockwise. When your cells spin counterclockwise, toxins drive deeper into the cells and you get cancer. That's part of what's happening when you have cancer, is the cells are going counterclockwise. So all healthy living energy, the galaxies, sunflowers, the universe, hurricanes, it all moves in this clockwise pattern, right? So sometimes you think, you know, I thought I healed that eating disorder, but then there's some little shadow that comes up again, right? Or I thought I fixed all my money problems, and then here it is again. Like we're coming around again. And you're never quite in the same place.
Right. It's different each time, but at the same time.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that the work that you didn't work. It means that you're moving along this spiral, and there's another layer that's coming up.
Right. Well, and I think what you're also pointing out too, and her books, I'm telling you, will help you understand this, is that all of this information that we're talking about is giving us tools and, you know, tips and techniques that, so when we do get into a situation again, we draw them back out and go, oh, wait a minute, you know, I had this situation before or something similar, and yet this is what the steps that I've taken, or this is the work that I've done, or this is the phone call I need to make to Catherine. You know, so it's also saying, okay, you know, you may never have a day that, or not a day, but your life is ups and downs. We're not robots, is what I always say. We're not robots.
Yeah.
We're full of the soul and the mind and the emotions and the body and things that are going to get us caught up sometimes. What we need to do is just find those tools and those techniques that will allow us to address them effectively and take on the least amount of impact.
Right.
You know, for the shortest amount of time.
Yeah. And, you know, to me, one of the simple ways to do this is to literally live your life from your soul. So how do you do that? You know, again, there's several things. One is you want to understand how your soul communicates with you. For me, I'm claircognizant, which is psychic knowing, where you just know stuff. That's the same gift that Edgar Cayce had. Most people are either clairsentient, which is psychic feeling, where you feel the energy, right? You read the energy.
Okay.
And there's some saying, I think it goes something like, you know, energy doesn't lie. You know, trust the vibes that you get. Energy doesn't lie. So when you're clairsentient, you want to pay attention to the energy, right? And then there's clairvoyance, where you get pictures, right? I'm seeing a vision of where I need to be. Or I'm seeing a vision of where I don't need to be.
Right.
And then there's clairaudient, which is the reception of information by words and vibrations. The thing about being clairaudient, I think you're clairaudient.
I am.
Yes. It's that it's easy to confuse the direction you get with your own thoughts.
Right.
But again, your soul is always going to be encouraging. If it's scary or threatening, that's your shadow.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating, fascinating. Now remind everyone of the book that goes through those 4.
Unlimited Intuition
That's
Now.
right. Unlimited Intuition Now.
Yeah, and that book talks about the different gifts, and I always joke it's like being a blonde or a brunette. Okay, there's there's upsides.
Or redheads.
Yeah, or redhead, exactly, a redhead. So, there's upsides and downsides to everything. So, for example, when you're clairsentient, it's very easy to confuse other people's energy and emotions with your own energy and emotions. So these are the kind of people, they can stand next to somebody in Walmart and come out grumpy, right?
Yes.
Yes. Or they're living in a house with their children or spouse and they're processing other people's emotions. Mm-hmm. So with clairsentience, you've got to really tune in and go, how do I feel, right?
Yep. That's fascinating. Well, and it's interesting that you say that I'm audio because I've recognized over the last 6 or 7 years is where I, kind of come up with this words matter. It's like I really have gotten tuned into the words people use and the words that I use, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And now do a lot of coaching. I even had Comcast here the other day, and he was leaving, and he was like, well, your service should be up and running. I went, should? You just spent an hour and a half here. It should be up and running now. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right, that doesn't make sense. Well, I hope that I have a good day.
Yeah.
He's looking at me like, what are you doing, lady? Okay, so we have so much more I want to talk about. I want to talk about karma. Mm-hmm. And how that kind of all ties in with one's ability to read their own soul. What would you share with us?
Okay, so here's the karma. That's almost like a technical term. So here's the simplest way to understand karma.
We like simple, don't we?
Yeah, I like simple. So I always say the most selfish thing I can ever do is be kind and generous to everybody around me. Because whatever I put out is what's going to come back, right?
Yep.
So whatever you put out into the universe is going to come back to you, right? Mm-hmm. So when you could put out good work, it's going to come back to you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
That's true.
So karma is the result. It's kind of like mathematics. 2 + 2 = 4. So karma is the result of the energy that you have put out in this lifetime as well as other lifetimes, okay? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've had clients, I remember years ago working with this lady who had recovered from alcoholism, okay? And she had really done a great job. She'd been clean and sober for 7 years.
Impressive.
And I remember we were doing a healing and she said, Catherine, it's like I swept that floor and I swept that floor and I swept that floor. And I'm like, okay, you cleared everything from this lifetime, but then you have some karma from past lifetimes. So there's many different kinds of karmas that you could be carrying forward. One of them actually is the karma of addiction, right? Okay, and a lot of people think, well, drug addiction or alcohol or whatever, there's workaholism and food addiction. There's many, many different kinds of addictions. Another big karma is actually the karma of slavery, right?
Karma of
slavery, right? Okay. So many people have lived as slaves in past lives. And again, you want to be compassionate about it because maybe 200 years ago, if you were a slave, you actually had value. Somebody took care of you. Now, I'm not condoning slavery. I think racism is wrong. Slavery's wrong. So
yeah, let's make sure we get that clear.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is at a soul level, you're used to working for nothing.
Right. Right.
You're used to being treated like a slave, right? I know somebody right now who is absolutely manifesting and living out the karma of slavery, right?
Damn.
Yeah. So there's many, many different kinds. Heart scars. This is
heart scars?
Yes. This is where you suffered wounds that go not just to the level of, they're not just emotional, they go all the way to the level of your soul, right? Mm-hmm. A karma of emotional starvation, where you are just so used to like taking care of everybody else, and you're not used to, you don't even know how to nurture yourself emotionally.
I know a lot of those people.
Yes.
Majority of them were women, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So it's a karma of emotional starvation, where even if somebody tries to be kind to you or generous to you, you're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm used to like just withering over here, withering in the corner over here.
Right.
So, and there's many past life vows that people have taken. Common past life vow is, this is not a fun one, poverty, chastity, right? And obedience, right? So
when you say a vow, they in some life previous to where their body is right now.
Yeah, they took a vow of chastity and poverty. So if that's your life and you've done all this relationship coaching and all this money coaching and you're still like single and poor, then you have to look at, well, what happened? Like, did I make some sort of soul agreement?
Right.
You know, that I'm going to give it all up for the church or something else. Right.
Something else. So okay, so when you're saying that, especially the past life things. So some people, and I've had a number of conversations with people around this, some people will look at it as, well, our ancestors. What you're saying is not just the ancestors. You're saying, because I definitely believe in past life regression, that your soul has lived before.
Yes.
And is carried forward. You know, and how I've always understood it is carried forward until you've learned everything that your soul is meant to learn.
Yes.
And then you're kind of present.
Yes. Yes, and actually both is true. And so if I clear karma, and not to be too technical, I'm going to check layers of karma. One layer is on the mental level, where you haven't learned your lesson. And you just keep doing the same thing.
Insanity.
Right?
The
exactly.
Same thing, expecting a different result.
Right. Then there is the DNA level, where you're carrying forward.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
You know?
But that's easier for people to understand.
Yes, it's coming from their DNA.
Right.
And there's things called genomes, which are even genetic thought patterns, right? So genetic thought pattern, and when you look at that, you have to look at, did it come through my mother's side or my father's side? So you look at, you know, let's take money for example. So let's say that in your family that women didn't have any money, or they didn't have any power, or they didn't have any money and power, right? And then you go all the way back, you know, through the generations to find where it started. So anyway, so karma on the mental level, on the DNA level, there's karmic contracts, okay? And there's three kind of karmic contracts. So I may be here to help you, you may be here to help me, or we may be here to help each other.
Right.
And a lot of us get very attached to fair. Like, I did this for this person, I'm supposed to get it back, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you look at in a karmic contract, you know, we may have had a soul agreement, and I'm here to help you, and I don't get anything back in return, and that's okay, right?
Yep.
So you have to look at, if you do have a soul contract with somebody, what kind of soul contract it is, and realize that at a soul level, you agreed to help that person, and that's okay. And finally, there's karma that goes all the way to the level to your core soul, and that's very, very deep. So you've been doing this pattern for a really, really long time, and it's usually a place of very deep woundedness, right?
So now we can get a picture of, should you be in a situation where any of this relates to you, as far as where you might be and what you might be dealing with, you know, why you absolutely need to get a hold of Catherine, because you could probably feel it in her energy, because I always get energized when I'm with her. I get calmed actually too. You know, I get all my wires, you know, kind of go, whoa, just kind of, you know, rest. Not rest, but just kind of calm down.
It's okay.
Yeah, and I don't even do caffeine, you know, which is wild. Wow, this time flies every time that you're here with us. Okay, so CatherineCarrigan.com, I want you to look up her book, Reading the Soul. I don't want you to just look it up. I want you to buy it. The other books, take a look at those as well, especially where it describes the 4
soul gifts.
Thank you, soul gifts.
Yeah.
And that was the unlimited intuition.
Now. Yeah.
And look at that. But on Amazon, on her author page, you can read through a description of all of her various books. And let me give you a tip, an additional tip. I've been getting a book, and this is going to be my next one, and then taking 5 minutes in the morning. Like she said, I also get up, get conscious, pray, meditate, and then I get up and I do readings. And one part of it's my daily devotion, and then the other is 5 minutes of a spiritual book. So, get her book and take a read, and whether you spend 5 minutes with it or you read it in one sitting, just do it. All right, in the next 2 minutes, what would you leave our listeners with?
You will survive everything that happens to you until you don't. And once you kind of get that, then give yourself permission to have courage. The second thing I would say is take time to listen to your soul every day, because your soul will always guide you in the right direction. There's so many times, even me, a professional intuitive, I get guidance and I'm like, my ego argues with myself, like, are you sure? Sure. And I'll ask the same question in different ways and get the same answer. If you're asking the same question in different ways and getting the same answer, it's definitely your soul. So, and then finally, trust yourself, right? If you feel like someone is not right, or that you shouldn't do something or not go someplace, again, absolutely listen to your soul.
It's horrible when you hear those situations, right, where someone says, gosh, something was telling me not to do that, and here I got myself into a situation, or so no, I would absolutely agree. And once again, Catherine Carrigan rocks it for you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
CatherineCarrigan.com. Reading the Soul, her latest, and is it a bestseller already, or is it working its way there?
Yes.
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
Yes, and check out all of her books, all right? Because she mentioned or have courage. She mentioned have courage. Have courage to ask for help. Have courage to reach out and say, Catherine, this is what I'm dealing with. Because check it out. I mean, you can trust. She builds a very safe environment, a very loving environment with her orchids. So have that courage as well to not only take care of yourself, but reach out for help to get, to get yourself where you want to be. All right. So thank you so much. Love it, love it. And next week we're talking about lessons of a bitch. You're gonna not want to miss that. You know what I mean. All right, everybody. Have a rich, prosperous week, and I will see you right back here at noon Eastern Time next Tuesday for another episode of Shedding the Bitch. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.